All right, Derek. One of the things we talked about a lot in our previous conversation today, but I think we left one thing out that I really wanted to talk about, and it's this idea of the loan officer's ability to compete in the marketplace because it's still the mortgage space. It's crowded. There's a lot of different people vying for less and less opportunity in a housing market that's still slow and rates are still high. This ability to compete and how Advantage has solved for this pain point in particular and how the broker channel serves this pain point maybe really effectively in general. Let's talk about price and competition for just a minute.
Yeah, so this is near and dear to my heart. The reason that I decided I'm going to start my own broker shop is because I got fed up with the company that I worked for effectively controlling my business. And that what that means is they controlled margins. Even though I had my own branch and could control my margins, they still tacked on whatever they were tacking on. So I was given a rate sheet, and here's where it started. And then from there, I had the ability to have my branch margin in there. Well, at the end of the day, looking at a wholesale rate sheet compared to what my bank at the time was offering on a conventional loan, I was at 350 to 375 in bips that was being baked in to the rate that I was selling. And I just got tired of the middle level managers going, well, I need to make money, so we're going to tack on this much for our income, and you just go out there and sell those loans. And they never gave me a loan. They never helped me get a loan. There was no support. It was just like, go sell. And it was even worse on the government loans. It was 450 on your FHA and VA. And I'm a vet. I can't, right in my own mind, charge a veteran that much money for a home. I just
For the
think
for the
it's
privilege of working with you as opposed to someone else.
I just think it's fundamentally wrong. Let's and they would always say, well, make up on your conventional losses with your govy loans. And I just fundamentally like, wait a minute, first time home buyers and veterans need the most help. So let's hammer them at 450 basis points. So that was one of the big reasons why I jumped, because I was just fed up with the company basically controlling what I could do. And that's really what the retail channel is all about. To be honest, from an ownership standpoint, what the retail channel has done with regards to pricing is brilliant, because they bake in their margin, and then it's like, oh, you have your own branch, you can charge whatever margin you want. Well, in order for me to compete as a loan officer, I may have to go to my branch manager and say, I got to get a 1 point PE on this. So now the branch is not making as much, but the company never gives up anything. The company's like, yeah, we're great. And then that loan officer has to do that loan at reduced basis points. My understanding,
Sure.
it's between 75 and 80 basis points once you get a PE. And I'm the one out here hustling. I'm the one out here getting business. I'm the one building the relationships. I'm the one out here fighting for this. And my company's saying, yeah, sure, you can get that loan, but you got to do it for this, because this is all we're going to allow. I
But the
just,
company maintains
oh,
its
shoot,
margin.
sorry. But fundamentally, it just frustrated me. So
Well, not
the
just
nice thing
frustrating,
is,
but you're being asked to take a hit on your margin as a producer in your income, but the company's
mhm,
not really taking a hit on their margin by granting the PE because they're just charging it back to you in the form of a reduced commission.
right, right. So from an ownership standpoint, it's brilliant. They've controlled LO comp without controlling LO comp. And the company's not taking anything. The branch is, right? Oh,
Sure.
my branch margin, so let's make it up on the gubbies. So the reality is now I can be super sharp. I don't really, very rarely do I have to lower our compensation to compete. Now we have the ability to do that on the broker side, but the great thing is that the company, Advantage Mortgage, is in that with you. The Advantage Mortgage takes a hit when you need to give a borrower to compete. We will participate in that. It's not just all on the loan officer. So
Right.
that's where it's a true partnership thing. We win together, and we don't lose deals, because I talk to loan officers all the time. Like, okay, you're making whatever basis points. Let's say it's 130, 150 basis points on all your loans. And I say, okay, well, how many loans did you have to do with concessions? And they're like, well, right now, pretty much half of them. Okay, so you're really at 80. And how many have you lost? Because 120 basis points on zero is still zero. So if you
Right.
lose a deal, you don't get anything. So I just don't believe in letting my people lose loans. We don't lose them, because losing one loan isn't losing one loan. It's losing
No.
two or three, right? So I'm very passionate about this, and we definitely do things on much lower margins, but at the same time, I'm not out trying to buy Learjets. We don't have a bunch of middle level management. I would love to have a jet, but I'm not. I am a pilot, but I'm not a jet pilot.
I'm coming down there this weekend. Are
So,
you saying I don't get to fly on the company helicopter? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
well, if no, yeah, not yet. But bottom line is we all win together, and we're doing enough volume to where everybody's making money. But if I can help you not lose deals, that's such a confidence booster. I've hired lots of loan officers in the last 2 or 3 years that were so beat down. They were so defeated because of just constantly have to fight this fight and sending out an LE, hoping that nobody was going to say anything, and then all of a sudden you get the email. Can you do this?
And not just hoping that they're not going to say anything, but somewhere in the back of your mind, if you're an ethical person, going, how do I justify this rate? How do I justify this rate?
It,
Especially if you're talking about FHA or VA with a veteran or a, and I think the word that keeps coming to mind as I was listening to you talk is the word transparency.
yeah.
One environment is really clear and transparent. The other one is obfuscated. It's not transparent. It's not communicating with full disclosure. And I think what I love about the way you've created this system here and this model of Advantage Mortgage is that it's just transparent. If
Hmm.
you have to take a hit, then we take the hit together. And here's what
Yeah.
I'm taking, here's what you're taking. It's all really clear
Hmm.
and fully laid out. If somebody comes here and they work in a P&L model, the financial
Yeah.
data is really transparent. It's really clear. Here's
Hmm.
what the company's making, here's what you're making. And
Hmm.
we operate in that way consistently. And that transparency to me is the underpinning uh, uh, foundational principle about this whole conversation about price and commission and PEs and all that stuff.
Yeah, and really the conversation starts with that, but the reality is what it's all about is I love helping people win again. Getting them back to what they love. I've seen it, like I said, probably 10 of the last loan officers that I've hired have in last year all doubled their volume, and they're building momentum because they're happy again. They're feeling supported again. They're feeling like that we care. A lot of loan officers would go to their branch managers and not get PEs. They'd be like, "Sorry," and then you lose the
Right.
deal. That is so deflating when you're working so hard to build your business. And so now, I had one loan officer first year here, doubled her volume, made President's Club, and now she did 4 million last month. She's going to do 5 million this month, and it's all because of all the pieces that we're putting together. When it comes to control, when it comes to systems, when it comes to pricing, you put all that together, and it creates a recipe for success.
Yeah, this business is hard enough. Any sales job is hard. It's hard to convince people to choose to use you as the provider of whatever service you're providing. But we're also a heavily regulated industry. So much has changed since 2008, and it's just a tough business. It's a tough way to make a living. But for those who have bought into effective tools, effective systems, and effective teams, and platforms, it can be fun again. It can be fun.
Yeah,
It can be back to
yeah.
doing this thing where you really get a smile on your face because you helped that veteran or that first time home buyer or that rich person buying their fifth investment property. It doesn't really matter. You're still helping people with this
Hmm.
huge financial decision. And in this environment, it can be done with transparency, full disclosure, and help mortgage professionals get back to having fun again.
Yeah, that's really what it is for me. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, thanks again, Derek. We'll be back again in the future to talk about some more topics that make Advantage Mortgage unique. But thanks for taking the time on this one.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kurt.
I like that.
Yeah,
All right,
that
we've
that
covered
one, like I said,
systems.
that one's near and dear to my heart. That one is, yeah, that one's
We've
going to get
covered